Welcome to One on One on God 101. Look at who our guest is today, Paul Abrahamian from Big Brother 18 and 19, and now
Hello.
on the upcoming and third season of House of Villains. Paul, great to see you
Hey,
again.
hey, Julie. It's so great to see you. And it's actually funny because I feel like we haven't really totally had a chance to have like a super full or in-depth conversation all these years, which is funny, even on Big Brother, because I never got like really interviewed by you because I never exited. So
You were the runner up both season 18 and 19, which is like a whole crazy, like 30 seconds. What are you going to do with the prize money you won? And then
yeah, yeah,
So, all right, we have a lot of catching up to do and a
catching
process
up to do.
interview. But first, God, but first, uh, tell me, I see you wearing a cross around your neck. You grew up with faith? You grew up with God in your life?
So, yes, the cross around my neck was gifted to me by my uncle, and it came from an Armenian monastery in Italy. The reason why I did grow up with faith, and I grew up in an Orthodox Christian household, was because of my Armenian heritage. And maybe you know, or maybe the listeners who don't know, but Armenia was the first nation to adopt Christianity as its national religion in 301 AD. So the history of Christianity and Armenia are very tied together, and it helped us survive a lot of hardships, genocide, and it's like a perseverance story, kind of in line with itself. So I grew up in an Armenian Orthodox Christian household. I went to a private Christian Armenian school growing up. I even went to a private Christian school in university. I went to Pepperdine. So faith has followed me all my life, but it's definitely been a interesting relationship to say the least.
How so?
I mean, my faith has been I've always questioned things from a young age. There was a little bit of like a traumatic experience in my I mean a lot of it of a traumatic experience in my family, but I was young when it happened, but a family member was murdered. And although I was young when it happened, growing up and seeing how it impacted my family, who as a young kid, seeing my family and prayer and church, it was always like, well, if my family is doing all these right things, or in the mind of a child, like all these correct things, like why would God like put them through that? Why would something terrible like this happen to my family, right? So it did lead me to like a lot of questioning faith and religion from a young age, probably too young to make sense. But I've had a very interesting relationship, yeah, with my faith because of that, and discovering, rediscovering, and leading up to where I stand today. To be honest,
Where are you today in your relationship with God?
so I have fully surrendered to God, as we commonly refer to. But I really see it as like the way I look at the idea of God is kind of like just the bigger picture. And however that seems to be interpreted, I think that we are part of something much greater. Um, and that power is something that I don't think that I can, or humans can ever really perceive or understand truly, because it's what created us, right? So I think there's a little bit of dissonance there. And through lessons and lessons and lessons that I either need to relearn or continue to learn in life, am reminded how small I am and how powerful whatever is above me is. And I can't help but give into it. I think it's the most I think I'm using the right word, humility. To have humility to do that, I think as a human being is probably the greatest thing that you can do.
Where were you in your faith walk during Big Brother 18 and 19?
Um, Kind of the same line, but a little bit more abstract. Like I was more, I'd say, like agnosto-theist. I spent a lot of time both in university and outside of university studying different like monotheistic religions, not just Christianity, but also, Islam and Judaism, and kind of seeing Buddhism, Hinduism, seeing how there were similar motifs throughout all religions, but the one commonality always was God. And to me, I find that to be really fascinating. Like, no matter where geographically or culturally or ethnically or wherever in the world, all roads kind of lead to God. Um, so during BB 18 and 19, I'd say it was more like, hey, I don't really know what God is or what the power is, but I know it's there. I don't know what it is, but I like to believe that there is something greater and beyond just me and human existence.
The Bible is the only book allowed in the Big Brother house. Did you
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
did you know there was a Bible in the house during season 18 and 19?
I did, because I think, if I'm correct, Davon was reading the Bible in BB 18, and we would have a lot of conversations about that. And in BB 19, Dominique was regularly reading the Bible and talking scripture, and we would actually deep dive into religion a lot on BB 19. I remember Dominique and I, and yeah, I even through the Big Brother experience, that was even a different test or a different lesson, and it's really fascinating. And again, my faith gets tested every now and again, as I'm sure everybody's does. And we do live in a very difficult timeline where it's hard to not have your faith constantly tested. But
Mm.
it always comes back to, it's almost like it's so right in front of your face, but it's so big that you sometimes can't even see it, because it's like right here in front of your nose, right?
Right.
And it's just time and time again I have experiences like that, or when my back is truly against the wall and I'm like, wow, I just need something. And uh, almost like clockwork, it's like, as soon as I start to, like, that fear and anxiousness, or I start to deviate, or that questioning of faith comes, it's almost literally like clockwork, or a straight out of movie, that the solution just kind of pops up in front of me as a reminder. And there has been many times in life where I've literally just started talking out loud and being like, hey, I saw that. I see that. I see you. I thank you. Whatever. But I recognize you. That is insane, and I'll send a couple of kisses above, because you can't make that up. You can't, and it's, I do appreciate that. I'm sure everybody has their different relationship with faith, but mine is kind of like this, almost not, I don't want to say sarcastic, but it's like so powerful that it's funny to me. Like, it's like, wow, sorry for ever even tinging on the side of doubt here.
Okay, since you never had a proper interview post Big Brother, let's rewind to season 18. You chose to take Nicole to the finals with you, and then you lost to
That's
her
awesome.
by 1 vote, 5-4.
By one vote, yeah.
Any regrets?
No. And people have asked me this over the years, and what could have done differently or not done differently. And I truly, in my heart of hearts, I tell people this is not just some cope, that in the moment, I like to be very present. And I know Big Brother is a game that you kind of have to play chess a little bit, but you have to be present. You have to feel that energy. You have to feel the tension or lack thereof, or kind of pivot in the moment. So I like to think I did, in my heart, the decisions that made the most sense to me in that time frame. And I don't regret how anything went, because had maybe that not been the case in Big Brother 18, then I probably wouldn't have come back for Big Brother 19. And who knows, so I truly believe that everything does happen for a reason, and there is a greater message in everything. And what's meant for you will be yours, and what's not won't. And that's just, again, having that faith or trust. Or there's this really cool, like, anecdotal Armenian proverb. I won't spend minutes talking about it, but it basically, something that seems bad in the moment, you let some time pass, and it's like, wait, but that actually saved me from something that could have been way worse that maybe I couldn't see in the moment, but after the fact, who's to say? So the
Bless
hindsight 2020 lesson,
blessing in disguise.
absolutely, absolutely. And I take everything as a blessing in disguise or a lesson that I either needed to learn or maybe it wasn't my time. And again, some people can call it cope, but I just trust that. I trust the big wave, you know?
Yeah. Season 19, you won part 1 of the final HOH, but Josh beat you in part 3, and he chose to take you. You lost again by 1 vote, 5-4. I mean, I guess you can't have any regrets there because it was the best situation possible, unless how you handled the jury.
Well, you know, for that last one, I didn't want to win that third competition because I did not want to decide between Christmas and Josh. I knew that I needed at that point as many votes as I can get. And I knew that that is a painful decision. That hurts, and I didn't want to make that. And Josh and I had kind of made a deal to take one another. So I was like, you know what? I'm trusting this decision that I made with Josh here. And I'll let him make that decision. And I did get Christmas's vote, which was helpful. And I don't know if I would have if I had to make such a decision. So yes, and as far as handling the jury, it's really something that I don't. I think that it's just goes over my head because I think my mistake is maybe assuming that we're all on the same mindset or page or like in this game of Big Brother, like we're just kind of like in this make believe scenario. So in situations where maybe I wouldn't ever take things personally or be a certain way, I think maybe I was under the assumptions that others would feel that way. But that's not a good thing. You can't make assumptions about how other people would or would not feel. So I also, a big thing is, I think it was my own paranoia, but like I felt that in the goodbye messages, I was because of twists that like people come back and people can like come back in the game. I'm like, well, I don't want to expose so much in my goodbye message because what if they come back and then like expose my game to the people inside the house? So it could be my own ignorance to the game, to be honest, because I didn't study as much as I should have. But also, you get paranoid in there. So I'm like, wait, I got to be careful about what and maybe they'll all figure it out in the jury house and be like, damn, he got us. But that was
No,
not the the way
yeah,
that it went down.
no, I think that was wise how you played it. House of Villains. How does it
Yes.
compare to Big Brother? Because it sounds very similar.
Oh yeah, I mean, it felt. I was like, wait a minute. I feel like I've been here before, which was good and bad. But it was helpful because I was like, wait a minute, And some of the competitions, even, I was like, wait a second. I have some familiarity here. But it was definitely less, I'd say, like stressful. It was, and you'd be surprised because you're in there with a group of villains, but I had a really good time. It was really funny. The show is very like unserious.
Yeah.
And I think the contestants also don't take it super seriously, which like, Big Brother, you're in there for 3 months. So now as a more grown up, I understand why people would take that seriously, right? It's like 3 months away from home. Some of these folks have kids or jobs that they left. And I was 21, 22 years old. So for me, as fresh out of university, for me, I was in La La Land, where some folks probably took a lot bigger risks, be it financial, emotional, mental, than I did. So, in hindsight, I can understand why that dissociation would happen, right? Whereas for the House of Villains, it kind of felt like we were all again wasn't our first rodeo in the sense of these kinds of environments and also like kind of on the same page like we're okay well we're all clearly villains so
Well,
we're going to sink our teeth into each other a little bit.
well, let me just say, you're not a villain. I don't think so. In the final 10 seconds, would you ever play Big Brother again?
Oh yeah, but I would really, really, really want to play with some of the top dogs that I've been compared to. And again, not that I've compared myself to before I get attacked by fans, but from what I've seen online, from stats, from the greats, I want to play against these guys. Some of the people, and thank you for throwing me up on a Mount Rushmore, but anybody that would belong on the Mount Rushmore or next to it, or maybe some other monument somewhere else, like I want to kind of go toe to toe with these folks because I played against newbies. I played against some vets. I want to play against some heavy hitters,
The
you
best. You
know?
heard it here. All right, we'll see. Expect the unexpected. Maybe that'll happen. Paul Abrahamian, I thank you and
It was
Godspeed.
lovely to get to chat with you, Julie, and thank you for having me on. This was cool.
Long overdue. You're welcome.
Yes.
God bless.